Hey everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Project Live. Today's topic is going to be about fear and limiting beliefs, and whether you are letting fear get in the way of your success. And please stay tuned to the end, because at the end of the show, we're going to give some practical tips on how you can address your fears, overcome your limiting beliefs, and move forward to create the life that you deserve. So here we go. Today's show is going to be about fear and limiting beliefs. And fear and limiting beliefs are things that really do hold us back from becoming the person that we could become, from fulfilling our complete potential. I've said this to you before. Your mindset is everything. There's almost nothing more powerful than the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves in our own mind. So this thing around fear and limiting beliefs, what is it all about? Well, fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. That's the famous quote from Susie Cassan. So it's this thing that stops you from even starting, is the first thing that is holding you back. And as Wayne Gretzky famously puts it, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So if we're not even trying, that's worse than failing. That's worse than failing. Furthermore, if you think about the famous quote from Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So even if you do go out and put yourself out there and try something new, if you start with the mindset that you're not going to succeed, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we need to address our mindset as we move forward and get out there and get beyond these fears, beyond these limiting beliefs, and give it a red hot go. So let's talk about fear. Our number one fear is around fear of loss. Fear of loss is a big one that holds us back. And this fear of loss can come in all kinds of ways. People automatically think about financial loss. They might think of loss of friends. They might think loss of their job. But one of the biggest ones is our fear of loss of our identity. And this is a big one that holds us back from change in our life. Whether it's organizational change in the workplace or changes that we might make in our day-to-day family life and our life outside work, if there's a big organizational change coming on, and many industries are being disrupted right now by artificial intelligence and other digitalization and other initiatives that are happening in organizations, if I'm the expert in today's technology and my company is introducing new technology, I fear that I won't be the expert at the other end of the journey. And all I have to say to you here is, if you don't act on that, then that becomes true. But if you move with the change and you grab hold of the pen and you help co-architect the change, of course you can be the expert in the new technology at the other end. And it might be a very exciting journey. So we need to address this loss of identity and ask ourselves, is it true? Is it real? And what can we do to address it so that it doesn't become a self-fulfilling prophecy? All right, here's a really big one for everyone listening. I want you to really, if you don't take anything away from today's live stream other than what I'm about to share with you now, this is it. This is the gold. The next one is our fear of judgment. This could be that we're walking down the street, we've got strangers walking past us, and the whole time we're worried about whether they're judging us on our appearance, on what we're doing, all of these things. It could be that my shoes are particularly scuffed today, and I'm worried about whether people are going to judge me because I didn't polish my shoes this morning. Are they going to be looking at my appearance? Are they going to think that I'm overweight? Are they going to think that I picked the wrong outfit this morning? Many of us walk around the world with this fear of judgment. Here's the secret, is for the most part, we're worried about what others think, but people are not judging you. There are some exceptions, of course, but most people are just going about their daily life and they're not thinking about you at all. They're thinking about what they've got to do at work that day. They're thinking about the groceries they've got to pick up on the way home that night. They're thinking about last night's date or whatever they've done in the recent past. The majority of people are not thinking about you at all. Furthermore, I said that there are, of course, some people out there that are judgmental, and they are going to look at you and have some kind of thought come across their mind. What I want to share with you is, if they are judging you, it's a reflection of their own insecurities. The other one, strangely, the counteract of this is, what about fearing success? What if I try this thing and it turns out to be really successful and it does change my life? And if we come back to our fear of change, maybe we won't be the same person after this venture that we're about to go on. Maybe we won't be the same person again, and maybe it's irreversible and all of a sudden we've let the cat out of the bag. This is also a very human reaction, and one that you need to process. And I still come back to reframing. Turn that into a positive statement, and we'll talk more about that with what if statements coming up as well. Now, let's get into some of the tips as to what we can do about this. The first part is, we need to acknowledge our relationship with doubt. Everyone has doubts. So you're not some kind of subhuman if you feel like you're having doubts and no one else is. Everyone has doubts. So don't beat yourself up about it. Confidence is the ability to act despite our doubts. So we have our doubts, we acknowledge our doubts, and we move forward and we try anyway. And here's some practical tips on how you can go about this. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is what's called the competence confidence curve. And it's a cycle that we can get ourselves on in a virtuous way. The idea here is to get yourself just the other side of your comfort zone, but not so far that we're setting ourselves up for a big fail, or we're setting ourselves up that the task becomes so daunting that we don't even try. So we look at the task and go, okay, where do we want to be in the future? And what ways can we take baby steps towards that? And when we do those baby steps and we're successful, we're building our confidence, and each step we're building our competence. And every time we get more competent, we try again and we succeed a little bit more, we get more confident, and it keeps on building on each other. The next part of it is what we call the Zeigarnik effect and overcoming the law of inertia. So the law of inertia tells us that a body at rest stays at rest, a body in motion stays in motion. So if you're going to try something new, the most important step is the first step. If you've always thought about going to the gym, and you go to the gym, you get your shoes on, you get your clothes on, you go into the gym and you get on that treadmill, you're not going to stop after 30 seconds. You're going to go, well, I'm here now, I might as well keep going. So taking the first steps, breaking the inertia and getting yourself moving is what will help you to build momentum. Other ways of moving beyond fear is to address the fear itself. So asking yourself some very challenging questions. What am I afraid of? What is this fear? What's the source of this fear? Where did this fear come from? When I have the fear, do I know that fear to be true, or is it something that I've just catastrophized in my own mind? And we'll talk more about that word in a few moments. And part of it is also to just get over yourself and to be able to laugh it off. You're not going to be perfect at anything you try new the first time. So you need to be able to get out there and try something, and then to be able to laugh at yourself and learn from it when it doesn't go perfectly on your first attempt. So this word catastrophizing is one that happens quite a lot. And catastrophizing is when all we can see is the negative. It's when we start looking forward and start looking into the future and going, well, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And every path, every thought that crosses our mind is a negative thought. How we challenge this is to face it head on and go, well, what's the worst that could happen here? What's the absolute worst? And then we work on what is the worst that could happen. We start looking at, well, what's the probability that that could occur? And quite often, this catastrophic event that we're worried about, the probability of it happening is less than 0.1%, but it's playing on our mind and it's holding up ourselves back. So moving beyond these fears, we start looking at what is the most likely outcome, and we get a bit more realistic. We've already thought about what's the worst thing that could happen. But really, honestly, what is the most likely outcome? What can I do to influence that outcome? What levers are in front of me that I can use to influence the outcome? And then for the most likely outcome, ask yourself that question again. Okay, will that really be that bad? Then we can shift to the positives and go, okay, I've processed the worst thing that could happen now. I've processed the most likely outcome. What are the positive impacts? What are the positive impacts that could come if I take this action? And we start reframing. I said this before, we start reframing the what if, which can be a negative question. And we start thinking about, well, imagine if. And then to embrace a growth mindset and to think about this along the way, that sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So if you try something and it doesn't work exactly as the way that you thought it was going to be, you still didn't fail, you just learn. So every time you try something, there's something to take away from it. And this is where the power of self-reflection comes in. And I want you to remember this, that learning does not change the world, it's applied learning that changes the world, right? So what we do is after we attempt this new thing that we haven't tried before, we're going to get out there and we're going to do the work to reflect on it and go, okay, what went well? What didn't go well? What will I do differently next time? What did I learn about myself? And what did I learn about others? So I'm going to say this very bluntly. You are enough. You are enough. Stop second guessing whether you are enough. Everyone in your own life, you are enough. And if you're looking to address things like self-doubt, we need to address the negative inner chatter, the voice in our head that's telling us that we're not enough. We need to stop looking at external validation, where we're looking for approval seeking, where we start putting our own self-value more on the value of other human beings. And we embrace what Scott Mounts calls the 90-10 rule. We don't ignore other human beings because we're in a world where we do associate with other human beings every day. But what we should be doing is looking at it from a point of 90% of our self-worth should be our own opinion of ourselves and 10% external validation from other human beings. And too often, we've got that exactly the other way around, where we put our own self-worth as 90% on the opinion of others. All right, so here's your actions. Stop letting fear hold you back. People are not judging you. Address your relationship with fear and doubt. Take action, and then do the work to reflect, learn, and try again.